Hello everyone and welcome back to the Perfect French with Dylan. This is the second video today. We are going to see a lot of irregular verbs. You will see that they are not complicated. Once I explain them, they will all make sense. Oh, I hope. For the book, we're on page 58 to 63. This video has a lot of exercises with it, so make sure that you have time so you can pause the video, do the exercise, and then come back to the next point. Also grab a coffee because it might be a bit long. So here are all the verbs that we are going to see today. We are going to see the one ending in indre, verbs with the stem including v, verbs with the stem including s. Then we have the aître verbs, the verbs with the stem including y, and then finally the one with the stem including q, u. So each of them are very specific type of verbs. Of course, they are all irregular. So make sure to understand how to conjugate them. Practice, but if you don't get them right away, don't worry, it will come with practice, with time. Don't stop yourself on something that you can't understand, that you don't seem to be able to use right. It will come with practice. Just focus on what works for you. This is incredibly important. And once again, don't forget to enjoy your learning journey. Alright, so here for the first type of verb, I told you we're going to see the one ending in indre. We are going to see craindre, éteindre, joindre. So technically we are going to see aindre, eindre, oindre. The endings are going to be sst, ons, ez, ont. Once again, we have two different stems for this verb. Just like we saw before, in the video before about dormir, servir, it's exactly the same thing. So this is going to be mostly the point of this video. It's all the one with two different stems. So the first stem is going to be crain. The second stem, we remove the n and we add gn. We'll see. So we have je crains, tu crains, il craint, elle craint, on craint. Then we go to the plural form and we have nous craignons, craignons, nions. Do you remember that? Nions. So it's not a non, nous craignons. That's not a flat N, that's the rolling N. Nous craignons. I'm sure you remember. Vous craignez, ils craignent, elles craignent. So remember, two different stems. We have the same thing, of course, for éteindre. The first stem is going to be E, T, E, I, N. The second stem is going to be E, T, E, I, G, N. So we have j'éteins, tu éteins, il, elle, on éteint, nous éteignons, vous éteignez, ils éteignent, elles éteignent. Same thing for joindre, we are going to have J-O-I-N and then J-O-I-G-N. Je joins, tu joins, il, elle, on joint, nous joignons, vous joignez, ils joignent, elles joignent. So be careful here that I see a lot of people mistaking this for the verbs ending in re. So remember with the verbs ending in re, we keep the d and then we add the s, and then nothing. Here this is not the case. We remove the d as well. That's why I point out when we saw the verbs of the third group ending in re, technically dre, that the d stays. Do you remember I kept pointing out? Well, this is very important to understand because in this case, it does not stay. So I see a lot of people making L joint with the D. It's not a D, it's a T. So to end the verbs with indre, you can do the exercise 1.33. Now when the stem includes V. We have quite a few on these. Sometimes the stem is going to change a bit more than that, sometimes not. So make sure to study each of them. We are going to start with boire, to drink. As usual, for the singular form, we are only going to keep B-O-I. But for the plural, it's going to turn into B-U-V, B-U-V, and B-O-I-V. So we have je bois, tu bois, il, elle, on boit, nous buvons, buvons, vous buvez, Ils boivent, elles boivent. So once again, you really have to master the present tense. Because in this case, for example, when we look at the imparfait, for the imparfait, we are going to take the stem that we use with nous in the present tense. So we are going to use BUV. So this is very important to understand that. Make sure you know your foundation. If you have to focus only on the present tense for now, just do that until you master it, and then you can go on to other tenses. The next verb that will have a V in the stem is the verb savoir, to know. We are going to use the same ending as all the other verbs, so that doesn't change much. So this one is a bit particular because for once the singular part is going to change while the plural doesn't actually change that much. For the singular one, we are going to have the stem S-A-I, pronounced c'est. So yeah, je sais, tu sais, il, elle, on sait. And then for the plural, we keep S-A-V. Nous savons, vous savez, ils savent, elles savent. I know that this one can seem confusing, but we use it a lot, so you really have to know it by heart. Then we have écrire, to write. So in this case, we only take out the RE from the stem, and then the singular part is going to be E-C-R-I, but we add the V for the plural. So, j'écris, tu écris, ils, elles, on écrit, nous écrivons, vous écrivez, ils écrivent, elles écrivent. Next one, recevoir, to receive. Be careful that the verb voir, to see, we are going actually to see it later in this video. Voir is not conjugated like recevoir. I told you that most of the time when we have a verb, if it's in another verb, it's going to be conjugated the same. This is not the case for voir and recevoir. Just a little side note. So here we have very specific stems as well. For the singular, we are going to have R-E-C, cédie, O-I. Then for the plural, we have receve, receve. And for the plural, il and elle, we are going to have reçoivent, reçoivent. Je reçois, tu reçois, il, elle, on reçoit, nous recevons, vous recevez, ils reçoivent, elles reçoivent. I overpronounce everything every time, so it actually really hurt my throat. A bit water. Suivre, to follow. And I'm pretty sure this verb has been made just to confuse people because it has the exact same conjugation from je than the verb être, to be. Je suis, and when you say I am, it's also je suis. So I'm pretty sure this one was just to confuse people. This one is fairly regular because the stem is only going to be S-U-I and then we have S-U-I-V. So it's actually not that bad. Let's see. Je suis, tu suis, il, elle, on suit, nous suivons, vous suivez, ils suivent, elles suivent. This one is actually okay, beside the fact that you can mix it up with to be. Now you can do the exercise 1.34, when the stem includes S. We are going to see two verbs for that, conduire and lire. Conduire to drive, lire to read. This one is also fairly easy, just like suivre. We are going to keep conduit, so we remove the R-E. We're going to keep conduit for the stem everywhere, but only for the plural we are going to add a S. S that's going to sound like a Z because it's between two vowels, just like maison, remember? So, je conduis, tu conduis, il, elle, on conduit, nous conduisons, zon. Conduisons. Not nous conduisons, son. That does not work. Vous conduisez, ils conduisent, elles conduisent. Exact same thing for lire, to read. We are going to keep L-I and then we are going to add a S. That's going to sound like a Z. Je lis, tu lis, il, elle, on lit, nous lisons, vous lisez, ils lisent, elles lisent. You have other verbs conjugate the same way in the book and you can do the exercise 1.35. I think this one was very easy actually. Now verbs ending in A-I-T-R-E. And we are going to use connaître to know. In the book there's also a small paragraph about the difference between connaître and savoir. I will link a video in the description box between connaître and savoir. It has nothing to do with conjugation, but it's very good to know. Connaître has a very specific spelling. As you can see, we have a little hat, the accent circonflexe on the i. We are going to keep it only for il, elle, on. Il, elle, on connaît. The other one I'm not going to keep it. So for the stem, for the singular one, we are going to keep only connaît. No little hat, no accent circonflexe for je and tu, only for il, elle, on. Then for the stem, for the plural, we are going to have ss. Nous connaissons, vous connaissez, ils connaissent. And also. Je connais, tu connais, il, elle, on connaît. So it doesn't change the pronunciation, the little hat. Nous connaissons, vous connaissez, ils connaissent. But what is very interesting here is that regarding the new reform of the spelling, which happened years and years ago, technically it doesn't matter really if you have the accent on top of il, elle, on. So if you want to skip it, if you just want to keep it as a regular i, it's really up to you. Same thing actually for s'il te plaît, s'il vous plaît. You can totally write it without. When I was teaching in an actual class, I used to not have it just because the students will choose to not use it. It's just easier, it's just one less thing to remember, and yeah. So it's really up to you. Sometime on my video I use it, sometime I don't. I get a few comments about it. None of them is wrong. You can just choose the one you want, one that's easier for you. And then you have a little exercise, 1.36, when you have to choose between savoir and connaître, and also you have to conjugate it, present tense. Now we have the verbs when the stem includes y. We are going to see croire and fuir. So they are only going to change for nous and vous. Otherwise, we are just going to keep the stem. So C-R-O-I, but the I becomes an Y for nous and vous. Then we just add the regular endings. We have je crois, tu crois, il, elle, on croit, nous croyons, vous croyez, il croit. So here it's all about the pronunciation. If we keep the I, we'll have nous croyons, croyons. It just does not seem right for French pronunciation, croyons. Usually we have those rolling sound, and this is exactly the purpose of the Y. Nous croyons, yon. It's like the beginning of your yes. Nous croyons, vous croyez. But we don't need it for il croit, elle croit in the plural, because in the plural, because we just don't pronounce the ENT. Okay? So, je, tu, il, elle, on, and il, elle pluriel are pronounced croit. Only nous and vous change. Exact same thing for fuir. We have je fuis, tu fuis, il fuit, elle fuit, on fuit. Nous fuyons, vous fuyez. Il fuit, elle fuit. Okay? It's all about having a better pronunciation, an easier pronunciation. So for this one, it's only nous and vous that changes. When you're ready, you can do the 1.37. One last, and this one is a very, very specific one. Vaincre, vaincre. And trust me, ask a French speaker to conjugate the verb vaincre to actually spell it. I'm pretty sure 8 out of 10 are going to spell it wrong. So for this one, as long as you know how to pronounce it, we're gonna be good. Here it is. So for this one, the stem for the singular is going to be V, A, I, N, C. We only remove the R, E. But the C becomes Q, U for the plural forms. We do still add SS and then nothing, and then ONS, EZ, ENT. But the 5 first are pronounced exactly the same. Je vins, tu vins, il vint. So it's not je vainc, it's not that. That's the subjunctive. So, je vins, tu vins, il vint, exactly like vin, like wine, exactly the same. Nous vainquons, here we have the k. Nous vainquons, vous vainquez, il vainque, vainque. So usually we will change only nous and vous. It's just that here, if we add a C and then ENT, it will be vince, vince. So to keep the k, vaincre, we add QU, even with il and L. I know this video was quite long. I hope you stayed till the end. Tomorrow we are going to see devoir, vouloir, pouvoir. So I will see you tomorrow. À demain.